Niggas Hate Facts, NHF the podcast, episode 14, we back. I'm in this bitch. We got Cal, you in this bitch.
In this bitch.
Mel, you in this bitch.
You already know.
And we got another nigga in this bitch, special guest. Calvin Butler the third is in this bitch. What's up, Cal, man?
What's up, man? What's up, man? I go by Cali Passport.
Cali Passport on IG, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we gonna have your IG. We gonna have your IG at the bottom.
Gave my man the whole government.
I'm actually changing my name to Cali Passport, though.
Oh, for real? Yeah, I seen. Oh, yeah. We gonna get into that because I seen you post that on Facebook. But now, before we get into all that, you know, how's everybody doing? You know, this the Corona check-in, man. Everybody still healthy?
I'm good. I'm good,
man.
Still good, man. I'm just glad you happy that you got another bald brother on here today, dude.
Hey, yeah, man. I got another bald brother. Nah, hey, see, I'm midweek. I shave my shit once a week. It's not looking good right now.
Nah, I do.
You know what I'm
like
saying?
every day.
Man, you know what I'm saying? But nah, so everybody good. How was everybody Father's Day? I know Cal, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all gonna hear that a lot this show. Cal and Kyle.
That's why you just say Cali.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do Cali.
I was like, Cali Cartel coming on. That's what
I wish. Shit.
But now, how was the Father's Day?
Father's Day was good. I mean, my daughter's in Texas, but we spoke a lot, do a lot of FaceTime and stuff. So it was cool.
What you gotta do? I got what I wanted.
Did
what's that? Peace and quiet. Peace and quiet.
That's what all I asked for, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I was surprised. My BM, she sent me $50 on the Cash App.
What?
You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh shit, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? On? Nigga, I ain't spending on shit yet. It's still in the motherfucking what is it? On the cash card or whatever you want to call that shit. But nah, man, it was cool, man. My daughter woke up around 4 p.m. decided she wanted to call me and then tell me happy Father's Day and shit, man.
You probably like, what day? Where's she at?
No, I knew where she was at, dog. She stay up, you know, when school not in, she stay up till like 5 in the morning and sleep. Kind of like how Jada used to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They fucking stay up all night, then sleep all day and be right back at it. You know what I'm saying? So I knew where she was at. I knew she was asleep, but now everything was good, man. But like I said, man, episode 14 had to get Cal on, Cali on. This episode, normally we say Cal is gonna get us canceled. I think Cali might be our first guest to get us canceled. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely got some good shit that we're gonna get into. But you know, we're gonna first start off with what's hot in the streets, what niggas talking about, you know, the current events. Anybody got anything? What y'all got?
You got Mel, you the current event, man.
Yeah, I got Ben Roethlisbeger.
Oh shit.
Oh, man.
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
What's going on with Big Ben, man?
He's addicted to porn and alcohol.
What
man isn't, though?
Right.
What man isn't?
What man isn't? You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
X videos, big.
But what do you consider an addiction? Because Kirk Franklin had an addiction. When that motherfucker threw his porn stash in a dumpster and then went back and jumped in to get the shit, that's an addiction. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's nothing wrong with watching some porn. You know what I'm saying? But he was saying, I know what you was talking about with Big Ben. He was saying, you know, his addiction to porn and alcohol, it wasn't allowing him to be a good Christian. You know, I guess he was doing some shit outside his marriage. But
I mean, that's what Christians are. That's what they do. They do shit outside.
Yeah,
most people.
It's over.
Yeah, we canceled over. Damn, how many minutes we in? It's over. But no, I mean, no matter the religion. I mean, that's what they. I mean,
nah, it do matter.
Niggas is human.
I know some Muslims that accept Christmas gifts. So. You know, nigga. Real talk, man.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, you're right. It's up to the individual.
Yeah, it's definitely is.
It's the human in us. It's the human in us.
Yeah, no, that's all it is, man. We be reading into shit too much. As long as Ben can still throw the football 70 yards down the field, nigga, we don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, because you got Juju Smith again, right?
Right. Exactly. I'll be drafting that nigga second round. Let's go.
Right. What else we got though?
We got the Ahmaud Arbery case. The three men got indicted today.
They got indicted today?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't even see that. I don't know
I thought, so what was they a month ago? They won indicted.
Yeah, didn't they get arrested?
That's what I'm saying. What the fuck?
They got arrested and, go through the whole... They got officially indicted. I don't know the whole background of it, but it broke the day they got officially indicted. Yeah.
You know what? I'm confusing them with the police officers in Minnesota. That's what I'm... Because they got... All them got arrested and indicted, right?
Shit. Well, you seen the girl
caught him in the grocery store?
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, he definitely cried in the car, though.
Man, what? He was looking... I felt bad for him for a second in that joint, but then I realized what they did. I was like, that shit went out the window. But for a second, I felt bad for that nigga.
I'm like, man,
fuck this. I mean, for her to say... for her to say he ain't have a right to be there. I mean, motherfucker on bail.
Right. Nigga, I'm free. What are you talking about? Yeah, no.
Exactly. That's what he was like, to get some toilet paper?
Right.
Right. And some Oreos.
Yeah.
That nigga said I came for the essentials. Nigga had Oreos.
Nigga can't get essentials.
Right.
Nigga got me eating jail food. Nigga, I'm about to get these Oreos.
That nigga better do Amazon for them Oreos.
What?
Nah, he learned his lesson. He ain't going to no stores no time soon.
Hell no. Somebody said he disguised him. Somebody said he disguised himself as Joe Budden and still got seen.
Yeah, that's the shit I see. It still got seen.
Slim, I was crying, dog. The nigga definitely looked like that nigga. Yeah.
He was in Minnesota though in a Walmart with no mask on. That's what I'm just trying to figure.
He was. I don't even. Was that a Walmart or a regular grocery store? I saw like groceries and shit in the background.
Either
way, he ain't have a mask on. Like he was just free balling out that joint. But nah, what else we got? We got Jay Prince. I know I was telling Callie about this earlier. I'm saying Cal. I normally call him Cal, but we got Callie. But so we're gonna go with Callie this episode.
DC, all that shit saying
exactly.
Kyle.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But we got we got Jay Prince and the NBA Youngboy situation. And I know Callie, you lived in Houston for like 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So you already know how Jay Prince go, but to those who don't know, NBA Youngboy, somebody had broken into his garage, and I think they stole like keys to his Rolls Royce, his Ferrari, shit like that. Shit that was in his garage. And I think he lived in Texas or was living in Houston or something like that. And and Jay Prince ended up getting his shit back. But in true Jay Prince fashion, he didn't just call him like, "Hey, I got your shit back." He went on Instagram, made a video. "Hey, I got your keys here. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna get it." And NBA Youngboy ain't take too kind of that. He went on and said, "Mind your fucking business," and man, all this shit, man. Total disrespect. But I see where he came from. But at the same time, that's Jay Prince.
Youngboy don't have no OGs with him. But Jay Prince, I mean, just living out there for so long, Jay Prince, the man, the myth, the legend, man. He does some questionable things, and I'm not talking about the whole video because I haven't seen it, but it's way too often that some random person or some celebrity within his vicinity, when I mean vicinity, that whole triangle from East Texas to Dallas, they come to the state and they get robbed. Even with Steve Francis, you know what I'm saying? It's like, everybody who get robbed, everybody that gets robbed, you magically know.
Yeah.
Like within an hour, you like, hey.
So Youngboy ain't check in with Jay Prince. That's what you
see. So the thing is, so here's what I was talking about earlier to Doug. It's a situation, and again, I'm not speaking facts. I'm just speaking what natives of Houston who have been in that life, who are still in that life, they tell me. And it's just one of those things because Jay Prince is known, or his guys are known to be muscle, right? And they known to muscle you for protection. So it's one of those situations. It's not a he ain't check in thing. It's probably a situation where Jay Prince guys might have been the ones who robbed him intentionally and then gave the stuff back. So now when it's time for you to get it back from me, the conversation gonna be like, look, young blood, so to make sure nothing like this happen again, just check in with me when you about to come down, throw me a little something and I have some bodyguards for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But again, he apparently, allegedly, he's been doing that for so long. People ain't stupid like they used to be. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like that happens way. You saw that happening way too much. I mean, just random cats. Young YK Osiris or something a couple years ago. He got robbed way out in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the R&B singer.
Oh no, you talking about not YK Osiris, YBN Almighty J.
Yeah.
That's the one. Got slashed in the face. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jay Prince was like, "Hey, I got you a chain." This shit way in New York. You like, huh?
I didn't even think of that shit.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, like I said, this is just a conversation that's been had. I'm not saying there's any truth behind that because I don't know. But it's just the streets talk, and they trying to call a spade a spade.
Right.
After hearing that story, it sounds like a spade is a spade.
Yeah. I never thought about that until I was talking to Cal earlier, man. He was telling me that. So I'm like, damn, you right about that shit, man. But
makes sense.
But why the Bama got all that money? I don't understand why they got all that money and get touched that easy.
Yeah,
like
that's the thing, though. It's probably back door, like you were saying, though. It was probably somebody in the mix.
It had to be somebody in the mix. But them cats be living wide open, because I mean, it's places. Like for instance, the spot, what was that? River Oaks. That I didn't live in River Oaks, but I lived across the street from River Oaks. You know what I'm saying? I mean Royal Oaks, not the community River Oaks. So Royal Oaks is a gated community. Like you got to show your ID to get in the jump. They got to make a phone call to make sure to confirm to your house that you. But the most expensive house might be $10 million in the jump, but the cheapest house might be $300,000. You see what I'm saying? Like,
so it's a big ass gap.
Yeah, but to get in that just to get into the jump, you got to show an ID.
Right.
And the dude got to call Doug. There's a dude out here, Cali Passport. He said he was supposed to be here. And Doug could be like, yeah, but fuck that nigga. I don't feel like seeing him right now. For real. He could say that. So he could be like, nah, let him through. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
So, yeah. So, it's a lot of places where regular people can live protected.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, for those who don't know, Cali, first you went to Texas Southern University in Houston. HBCU. What made you say? Because like I say, you was down there for 15 years, and normally us being from DC and PG, like not too many of us leave here and go to other areas and actually want to stay there. Like a lot of people from other areas actually end up coming here.
Right.
Was the reverse? What made you stay down that joint?
Well, a few things. Well, the one thing that made me go down there, I was blessed. But I am blessed to have parents that had me traveling at a very young age. I mean, I was on my first plane at like 8-9 months, and it just took off from there. My parents, I did a lot of traveling at a young age, and they wanted me to see abroad, see life abroad, even if it wasn't out the country, just to be able to be comfortable enough to go anywhere. So I actually wanted to go, because I've always been in TV and film. I actually wanted to go to UCLA, right? So growing up, I'm not sure. I know, Doug, you from PG County, and we talk a lot. These people be like, oh, y'all Maryland niggas. But it certain part of PG County can relate to certain parts of DC. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
that rough shit. Like me being from uptown, certain parts of Southeast go way harder than what we do.
Yeah.
Than we did. But the thing is, I wanted to go to UCLA. I wanted to go to best film school. And I also wanted to get away from DC. Because it was just, by the time I graduated high school, I ran out of fingers of how many people I know that have been killed. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things. I busted up my knee. I was playing football. I busted up my knee. And honestly, man, TSU and a couple other black schools were the only ones that still, wanted to give me money to come out there. I was fortunate for that for sports. So it was just one of those things where, shit, I'm gonna go to Houston. It was funny. My first brochure, my pamphlet, my football pamphlet was the major reps. They was on the front of the jump. Hey, bullshit. I was like, oh yeah.
So
TSU, I'm going to that. So, and I'm a tropical nigga, man. I hate cold. I'm a February baby, but I hate cold weather. I hate it. So it was one of them things, Houston. Now, when I got out there, it was like, oh, this some Bama shit. And I ain't gonna lie. Luckily, again, for my mom, because I got I didn't play my football my first year because of my knee, my medical red shirt. I got my release papers. I was upset with how my rehab was going. I loved Houston, but everybody was just Bama to me. So I was like, man, I'm going home. I'm going to Morgan. I got my release papers. I ain't even tell my mom I was going to transfer to Morgan. I called Coach McNary, who was recruiting me out of high school, and he told me, he was like, well, since, the 1AA thing, he was like, well, if you transfer to Morgan, you got to sit out. I'm like, fine. I ain't trying to sit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, come all the way home and sit out in Baltimore. So I told my mom, I was like, look, I ain't going back. And My mom looked me dead in my face. She was like, yes, and I was just like, what you mean? She like, you only been down there 5 months. You ain't even been to. She said, look, I'm all for you transferring, because that's the first thing they said. You can go as far as you want. It's not like you can't come back. That's exactly that's exactly my parents were saying. But she made me stay the whole year. She said, now come spring, you want to leave, we can do it. Man, I went back spring, the weather broke. Of course, it was warm all year.
The sundresses were out.
Hey, Slim, jiggle season started in January. I don't know if y'all ever heard of the Kappa Beach Party. That's when Lil Flip used to do all them videos on the beach with his Burberry Jaguar. We at that jump. I'm like, oh yeah, I ain't going nowhere. Like literally, I see that. I was Texas relay. I'm like, man, I'd be crazy as hell to leave Texas.
That's
how I stay.
Man, I always say that, man. As far as the best black women, I always say us. Detroit and Houston got the best black
Detroit
country.
Woo!
Detroit,
you the been somewhere, dog.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Detroit, people be sleeping on the sea. Chicago too.
Chicago
some nice
Detroit.
Nah, I actually no.
You said where?
You said who?
You said
Atlanta's not. They from
no.
Atlanta,
no. They don't. I'm talking about looking wise, like looking
homegrown.
The whole.
What about St. Louis?
I can't vouch for St. Louis,
okay,
but I know for a fact top three is
Detroit,
DMV, and as far as looks and body. Looks and body.
Hold on. Hey, Mel. That nigga Doug been to Detroit?
I don't think so.
No. But I know people from Detroit. Like I said, a lot of people come say they trying to catch me up, man. They trying to catch me up.
The man ain't never even been there.
No, but I know like
bad joints.
No, but you know what?
Hey,
no.
three bad joints.
No, but it's not even the joints I know. It's like joints that joints that we met in Miami. He said on Tinder. Joints we see in the movies, the actors
so
like
swipe.
Dog. I'm telling you, Detroit. But I ain't the only one to say that.
Detroit, Flint, that whole little area there. Yeah.
But the reason we definitely got Cali on, because he's a big advocate for our black athletes. He calls them blackleets going to the 5-star, the good ones, going to HBCUs versus the PWIs. You know what I'm saying? So but what I'm gonna do is I want to start at the high school level, because you, like I said, you went to Carroll. You coach for Carroll. You're familiar with the WCAC. We talked about this a few times on the show. How the WCAC is like number one in high schools. It's the number one conference in high school for basketball. I think it's like top 5 for football, something like that, or at least top 10.
In basketball in the nation, the WCAC.
Yeah, number one. It's number one.
Oh wow!
The number one division. I mean, the number one conference. And football, I believe, is top 10. I know you were saying Texas, the 6A. It's 7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
The WCAC been flirting with 6 and 7 for like the past.
And that's good. Years. That's definitely a good step up. But you, like I said, the reason I know one of your arguments is you either want to take it before college, you want to take it to where, because nowadays kids get recruited out of middle school. So, they got high school coaches calling them, all the Catholic school coaches calling them, trying to get them to come there. But you an advocate for public schools. And, a lot of people they on the fence with that because, with public school, I know I went to a public school. I actually was supposed to go to Carroll with y'all. I ended up not going to Carroll, but But it's a difference because I went to I started at my first school was a Catholic school. I went to St. Benedict on 21st. So
I went to Holy Redeemer.
Oh, okay,
First and quarter.
Yeah. So that it was it's a big difference from Catholic school and elementary school. So like at St. Benedict, just to give you an example, like that's elementary school. We had fucking gym uniforms, but we had winter gym uniforms.
Yeah.
And we had summer gym uniforms.
The sweatsuits.
Man, they were strict. Like you couldn't wear certain dress shoes. Like I got sent home because I didn't have the certain penny loafers on.
Yeah.
You know, and then I transferred. I went to Brooklyn and Northeast. You know what I'm saying? So
okay.
You know, yeah. So I went to Brooklyn. That was we ain't had no gym. Fucking our gym was our lunchroom, was the auditorium, was the all that.
As big as that school is?
Yeah, and Brooklyn was big as shit because it used to go from first to eighth, then it went to first to sixth. Now it's a middle school. They tore it down and redid the joint. But
I didn't know it was. I thought somebody told me it wasn't open.
Yeah, it's a middle school now. But yeah, man, it's drastic, man. Like the class sizes and all that. You know what I'm saying? But why do you think kids should go to the public schools versus the WCAC? We're gonna start there before we get to college.
Well, the biggest reason is because everything that Black people believe the white Catholic school is, it isn't, right? So, and what I mean by that is, and my parents can attest, because we grew up in the early late 80s, early 90s, and when we first started school, the DC area was bad. Ward 9, Peasy County, all that shit was bad. So they decided to put me in a Catholic school that was in certain quarters. But anyway, so it was this one thing. I know, right? But from when it comes to the discipline, I will always say that Catholic schools or private schools are more strict when it comes to discipline, right? I literally spent half my life in public schools, half my life in Catholic schools. So my parents divorced. I came uptown, went to King Elementary, and I had a good time. Graduated from there, went back to Holy Redeemer for 7th and 8th grade. It was cool. Now the whole high school thing. So when I always wanted to go to Carroll. I could walk to Carroll. All the girls around here went to Carroll. My little league coaches, when I played at Riggs, all of them was Carroll guys. So I was like, Carroll, that's where we going. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you got to Carroll, like I told people, it was like, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but it was like sister act. And what I mean by that, maybe because it was an all-Black Catholic school, but it was like, all right, this whole Catholic school shit is overrated. One, I'm not Catholic, right? And that's a big thing that people. But I'm not being funny, but I come from a religious household that's not Catholic, right? So, and that's why I'm not even Christian now, but because Catholicism opened up so many questions, because I grew up just thinking the Baptist is what it is. But when they doing so much different stuff, it had me questioning a lot of things. And again, it's just a lot of stuff that, all right, I'm not really, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. It is what it is. But once I went to Roosevelt, now mind you, I'm at Carroll. Carroll is about 17 grand a year. When I was there, it's probably half that, maybe 8-9 grand a year. That was 20 years ago. And the most we had the regular curriculum. You had a French, Spanish, maybe Chinese, and that's it, right? And then you had your sports team. So when I went to Roosevelt, DC Public School, my neighborhood school, they saw that I was in the 10th grade. They said, okay, well, what I forgot what they call it, but they was like, what? Basically, their school was broken down into majors. They was like, so what do you want? What major do you want to be in? So my mom and I looked at each other. We were like, huh? She was like, well, we got academy. What academy? She like, we got the FBLA Academy. We have like the Black Entrepreneurs Academy. We had the TV and Film Academy. I'm like, what you talking about? Because I've been doing TV and film since 4th grade when I was at a public school at King. That's where I had my first TV show in public school. But I'm like, y'all are broken down. She's like, yeah, so 10th through 12th grade, if you want to be a TV film, that's what your focus going to be on. You're going to learn radio. You're going to do this. And I'm like, and it's a free education.
Yeah.
This is my neighborhood school. You feel me? And I'm like, we blown away because this is what I've been wanting to do. This is what I majored in college. So it was like the glass ceiling fell through, in a sense. So my mom was really like, damn, we've been spending all this money over the years. Because you got to think, back then, tuition $8,000 a year. You got your uniform, your books $500 a semester. Your blazer itself, your blazer by itself $150.
Yeah,
now, and then
you need two of those.
Yeah, at least. Then you got to. And when you was laughing about getting sent home because that's you had to get your stitching, the ACA test on the pants, and it was crazy because it got to a point where I actually got myself put on the curb because my mom. It got to a point where I was like, yo, I can be at a public school. You could be saving money. I could be getting fresh wearing Jordans. That's what my mind was at. Right. Now, that's really what my mind was at because it's a waste of money. So I literally started homeroom. We did uniform check. And if you weren't in proper uniform, you got sent home. Mm-hmm. So I literally would forget my belt. But it's really in my locker. Yeah. Oh, damn. I got on my phone, put my shoes in my locker. And it got to a point where after football season, I started doing that. My sophomore year, my varsity year, and by January, it added up so much to like 17, because I was doing that like twice a week. Because my mom was
demerits.
No, they were sending you home. Like they're like, oh, you ain't got it? You getting sent home for the day. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, oh, she went to Wilson. Oh, the only school you're going to go to is Wilson. I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. So I literally was, my suspensions added up. And I got put out of the school. But when you go, and again, and people get the misconception when it comes to athletes. I mean, just listening last week, I think that was last week, that 13th episode. And a lot of people got the St. John's, you got the DeMaster, you got the Gonzagas, the Pilates, etc. Yeah, those are household names of sports. I feel you. I feel you. But you got a woman who was in Southeast. I coach over at Johnson Middle School. Shout out to us, 3-time wrestling champ. But I'm in the heart of the city over there. The belly of the beast is what they call it. And when you got a school, like, what people don't know is when you line up Good Counsel, Gonzaga, and DeMatha, right? You line up, and then you line up H.D. Woodson. H.D. Woodson has more NFL players than they do combined. H.D. Woodson has more Division I football players than them, mostly combined. H.D. Woodson, since it's been open for 60 years, has never had a losing season. Mm-hmm. Everybody that leaves H.D. Woodson goes to Division I football.
But what about other schools out there, though?
But my point is, when you had a woman last week, and shout out to SJC, because my boy Gillespie, the defensive coordinator, people think you got to go to St. John's to do that. Now, granted, you go to a power school like St. John's, where you got the blanks, the Under Armour dude backing you. You're going to be sitting on your bar. Your stage going to start off a little high. I get that, right? But I was one of them dudes, man, growing up. I just couldn't understand why dudes go to DeMatha and sit for 4 years. Well, you could have been playing 3 years at Coolidge or at Roosevelt. I mean, all my dudes that went to Carroll, they might have went to Mike Holly, they might have went to Temple and all that shit.
Yeah, that's my man, Mike Holly.
Yeah, that's we started off at Riggs together. But
all my niggas play for Riggs.
But the motherfuckers ain't never go to the playoffs in high school.
Yeah.
You feel me? When I was a game away from the championship my 2 years. So it's just like it's just like, man, each school has its perks. And I say I put it on an individual basis when it comes to sports.
So
go ahead.
So you think that parents don't want to send their kids to public schools because private schools is more accessible for like D1 colleges, or do you think it's the environment in the public schools? Because I think it's the environment.
It's both, but like, again, going back to the woman last week, you got a kid, like she said, my kid is a Southeast. It was. I was watching her today, and it was so interesting because she's everything. I don't know a person. Seems like he's talking
about Krishna from last week. For people who saw the last week episode,
right. She seems like a cool woman, but when she started her pros and cons at HBCUs and the PWIs, it got to a point where it was ignorance because it lacked education. And what I mean, it's not her fault. It's just a cycle with urban, and it's not just a DC thing. Urban city, urban Black people, you know, you got that white school coming over here and say, hey, we'll take care of you. And come on, the first thing she said was St. Francis and this, because all of these kids, all of these schools, they come at you with their Black coaches. And I'm talking about from this area. I know, because I was one of them from Carroll. You know, I was a coach and I was a recruiter. And we come at you, they bash public schools. You got a kid 15 who's been in public school his whole life. And like she said, I don't know if he's going to be ready for St. John. But you get ready to throw him to the wolves with people don't talk about that. How many of them Black kids get put out because of something a white dude said, or something a teacher then said, or nah, fuck these shit up here. You know, I don't fuck this uptown shit. You know, people don't throw that in the equation per se, but you got people who've never been in that environment telling you they want their kids to be in that environment. Yeah. For when it comes down to these black leaks, like I like to call them, the best thing that needs to be in their lives is strong Black role models, right? Oh, of course. But when you send them to a Pilates or a DeMac or Carroll, well, Carroll was a little different because it's in the hood. Yeah. You know, it's gonna always have this Black folks, this Black male teachers. But that's one thing I loved about Carroll. All our coaches was teachers. You feel me? Somewhere, somehow, whatever. But when you start going to St. John, I mean, my god sister Lone Ray, you know, they went to St. John. Her older brother Jonah, my big brother, he went to Pilates. And I mean, he was the man up there. But when you look at his yearbook and all his girlfriends and all this, it's like, oh, all right. Like how the girl was talking about last week. Like, yeah, we don't want a vanilla girl, but
he had all vanillas, huh?
You know. Yeah, I'm talking about it was cookies and cream all over the place. That was my first experience.
That's why them kids want to go to Duke, Hong Kong.
Hey, yeah, man. You see, he got his Duke hat on and shit.
Let's go.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm pushing my movement. It's right now. It's called education over entertainment. Okay. And again, it's deeper than rap when I say that. But we gotta, as the people, we gotta educate ourselves, right? And when I mean we so caught up in sports. Oh, Paul 6 ranked in the country. I'm going to send my son in. Way to fuck out Fairfax. You know what I'm saying? Where they don't really fuck with us. And I'm speaking from a player and a coach when I speak about that particular school. You know what I'm saying? Or even St. John's. I mean, you go to, a couple of years ago, we played St. John's, and our parents are getting into it. This is Carroll. Our Black parents have gotten into it with the Black St. John's parents because the Black St. John's parents on some suburb white boy shit. Fuck y'all, go back to the ghetto, go, you know, like, so it's like when you say you want them in, right. So when people say, oh, I want them in that environment to be diverse, you got to understand what come with that environment. Like the old fuck the police, NWA, when Ice Cube say Black police showing out for the white cop. It's a bunch of them over there in them type of schools. Yeah. You feel me? Like, and it's, so it's like when I recruit now, I tell parents, I'm the best of both worlds because I coached in both, because I coach at Bell now, and I also played in both. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Sub WCAC and local public schools. And it's not what you think about. And people always say, oh, the education is better. And not to down Pearl, but I just, on a recruiting thing, I was recruiting a parent. It's 39 high schools in Washington, D.C., right? And that's public and public charter, right? Bell, where I represent, is ranked 6th academically. The only schools in front of us are Banneker, McKinley Tech, School Without Walls, schools you got to test to get in, right? Right. When you talk about Carroll, Carroll is considered, it's a Catholic school, but when you do the breakdown, so there's 15, they do it as Catholic and private. So there's 15 private schools, and that's including like the Field School and all them type schools. 15 private schools in Washington, D.C. Out of 15, Carroll is ranked 15th academically. Now, when you include private/Catholic high schools, that goes up to 20. Carroll is ranked 20, right? So
basically last.
Right, but that does not mean people from can't go to Harvard and aren't going to Harvard and shit from Carroll.
Right.
But I use those demographics and those numbers when recruiting when it's like, oh, we thinking about Carroll over y'all because it's Catholic schools and better education. I'm like, yeah, it's not. not better education. We just won the championship with 13-0. You know what I'm saying? Carroll was
it's just the name in the Catholic school.
But that's why it's education over entertainment, man. Because people get so caught up, it's mesmerizing.
So what you think of DeMatha then? DeMatha has an all-black coaching staff, I believe.
No, they don't.
They got coaches.
Elijah Brooks
left.
Oh, yeah, he left.
Yeah,
that's right.
McGregor came back.
That's right. That's right.
But no, I think it's funny.
I mean, DeMatha, I'm going to be honest, DeMatha is in the league of their own. I mean, because it's one of those things. I'm gonna put on my parent hat and take off my coach's hat. If it came down to because I feel like Friendship Academy is on the same level academically, and they so if it came down to Friendship, HB, and let's just say DeMatha, I wouldn't be upset with any of those if my son picked. Not I wouldn't say, oh no, you got to go over DeMatha. Because we know what DeMatha holds.
But you talking sports over education? Over education.
So DeMatha, so from my understanding, DeMatha was in the middle of those rankings, what I told you. So DeMatha was like at 9. So it's not like that. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say was because I actually went and took a visit to DeMatha one time and I stayed for a day.
Yeah, the shadow.
Yeah, for a nigga that's a nigga, ain't no way in hell, dog, that I would survive that jump. Not even just that. I was astonished by that. It ain't even a female fucking director, teacher.
That's
it's all motherfucking niggas in that. But nigga, I sat in the class, Slim, for like an hour. It was like maybe it might have been like 2 hours. It was a religion class.
Yeah,
my nigga. There was no talking. That nigga told you where to read from there to there and what to do. Dog, these niggas was in silence.
Yeah.
Now you gotta think about sending. I know you are athlete and shit, or niggas athletes, but Slim, at the end of the day, that ain't for us. That's it.
But it's the
that's brainwashing you, man.
That's
no.
Dog. I can't do that every day.
But the Mather is on that level. Like, you got a St. Francis. You even got St. John's has crept up to that level that they're so good athletically, at least football, but the math across the board. Right, but we're talking, let's just say for our guys, football and basketball, that we don't, when you go there, you got to do whatever the fuck the math would do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's bigger than that.
If your son came to you and was like, yeah, I can't do this shit.
Then that's fine. Because I was
you
the same
good with
kid.
that. Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah,
I went. See, and I was ignorant because I went on 2 shadows, Costa Rica over St. John's. They wanted me bad. I was on 2 shadows over there. But I was just doing that to get out of school. I went to the math. I'm like, ain't got no boys. They ain't got no girls.
It was a school day like shit. Yep.
Yeah, it was like, nah, I'm from the hood. Nigga. Like, we gotta get some bitches up here.
They was trying to say, look, my cousin went there. He was trying to sell me on at like 2:30. The bitches be across the street.
For a
half hour. For 1.5 hour. I said, nigga, ain't no across the street.
And the seating seems so far from the math that I don't see how they got over that point, man.
Because they was tweaking like shit, man.
Like shit.
All that. Like,
I said, nah,
that's why
I'm going to public
like
school.
That. Yeah.
Dog, and the crazy thing, I didn't do the shadow, but I went to, like I said, I was supposed to go to Carroll because, like I said, I went to Brooklyn and I was supposed to go to Paul uptown, right? So, because if you were smart in Brooklyn, all the smart kids they sent to Paul. Everybody else had to go to the neighborhood school, which was Bacchus at the time.
Bacchus. Oh, I know they did it like that.
Yeah, so they did that. So, but at a week before school started, I was living in Maryland. So my mother was like, "Nah, you gotta go to your neighborhood school." So I was sick. I ain't know nobody in my neighborhood. Blah blah blah. So the first opportunity I could get, I was like, when Kettering was over, I went to Kettering. I was like, "Shit, I'm about to talk my mother and let me go to Carroll." So she was with it. So I went to there was like what's that shit called? Not an orientation, but it was like an open house. And I started looking around. They started telling me, it was like, yeah, you know, everybody who, all the graduates, like 96% of our graduates go on to college, blah, blah, blah. I was sold on that. So I was like, I'm going to this joint. Next thing you know, they was like, yeah, you got to write a 100-word essay or something. I was like, then I started looking at the uniform. I started remembering my Catholic school, elementary school uniform. Nah, I'm going to go to Largo too.
You still went to college, though.
So I skipped Carol over just for the essay, the 100-word essay you had to write to get to that motherfucker.
And the only reason, like I said, I was in Catholic school. So it was just like everybody, when you in Catholic school, like in the 8th grade, it's like only schools we applied to were the Catholic school. So all of them had to be essays, you know? So it was just like, now I guess now that we older, 100 words ain't nothing.
Looking back, I'm like, dog, that ain't shit. I can write that on. I could fucking type 100 words on Twitter in 3 tweets.
Text messages be mad as shit. 100 words.
You know what I'm saying? It's just funny though, man. Like just the dumb shit that I think, and you know, the stupid shit we think of as kids. You know what I'm saying? It's just stupid. And I kind of wanted to use that as a segue into like the college, because I know, like I said, you're a big advocate on our, you know, the black leads going to the HBCUs over versus the Dukes. Like my man Kyle got on all that shit.
Who the fuck came up with black leads? Because I'm fucking
Nah, that's my word.
Yeah, I was about to say, Cali, he came up with that joint.
Hey, you got to hashtag that motherfucker.
No, like I said,
that's tough though. That's tough.
So, like I said, the backstory, because like I said, if you follow or if you friends with Cali on motherfucking Facebook, nigga, every 5 minutes he typing something. He kicking some type of knowledge, but like it's always. You know, I know one of the big things he advocates for is the HBCUs versus the PWIs, and he comes up with some great points. You know what I'm saying? But it's pros and cons to it. And the reason I brought up, like, you know, the shit I was thinking of when I was young is because these kids are young. So you can't kind of like, and you were saying education over entertainment, and I like that slogan. But a lot of people, like you said earlier, they don't know. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what goes on and what comes with going to these schools and all the shit that goes with it. And like you said, a lot of parents don't know either, because like it's parents or it's kids that go to HBCUs that go in the first round as well.
But it's what it is we're old enough now that we can't use that as an excuse for not knowing, right? So the ignorance comes with not caring. You feel me?
Right.
And that's what it boils down to.
Cut you off real quick before you get into it. Now, the ignorance as far as parent, like, is that directed towards the parents or the kid?
Okay,
all right. For not informing your kid.
Hold on. And also, hold on. You're referring to, are we talking sports? Or are we just talking about in general of going to an HBCU?
I think we're talking sports. I don't know.
All right, let's go with sports.
We keep it sports.
Because the ignorance, and I speak so aggressively about it because I was that person. You know, like my parents have multiple degrees. My mom has a PhD, Clark, Bowie State, you know, so it's just one of those things. But it was never instilled in me that you going to an HBU. It was like you going to college. So it wasn't even, you know what I'm saying?
Black or white, it was just college.
Right. So it was just like, I got an uncle who played, one of my dad's younger brothers played professional football like 13, 14 years. He's from Cardozo. He played at North Carolina State. My first cousin from Ohio. He played with David Boston and them back in Eddie George with Ohio State. You know. So it was just like, I gotta play big time football, right? So the older I got, as I'm getting older, it's just people just like, you gotta go to. I didn't want to go to Maryland, just you know, but
I wanted to go to Michigan.
Wolverine. Yeah, I'm about to say I was a diehard Michigan fan.
Yeah, Charles Woodson,
I was a diehard Michigan fan. I'm like, man, I'm going to Michigan, like, and it was that on Miami, and I said something about Coach McNary earlier, who recruited me. It was funny because Michigan had just told me that they weren't going to offer me a full scholarship unless like 2 people had declined. Blah, blah, blah. And Coach McNary put his arm around me. Because I just won MVP at Michigan State, by the way, for my position, corner. And Coach McNary, man, put his arm around me. He was like, man, don't worry about that, man. You going to Morgan. I kind of looked at him. And mind you, that's exactly what I said, though.
Yeah.
So I was just like, huh? he was like, you DC, man, you already got on the colors because Uptown Rose, we orange and blue. So I'm like, he's like, you going to Morgan? I'm like, in Baltimore? He like, yeah. I'm like, ain't that a black school? He like, yeah. I'm like, man, black school can't give me the loan. Get me to the league, you know, and as an adult, you like, man, that's so fucked up that I said that. Right. But, you know, but I was not, but I say all that to say, I applied to 19 colleges. All of them was HBCUs, and I got accepted into every last one of them. Because if I wasn't going to play sports, I was going to an HBCU. Right. You know, my mom was like, oh, if I'm going to play sports, I'm going to put up with these white folks for a couple of years, and I'm going to go to the league. But as an adult, man, and we look, that's so wrong. But that started at a young age. It started with the adults, the coaches, the parents.
I mean, just watching on television. You know, you don't see the HBCU except for the Grambling game.
But and that's fucked up too, because you're only gonna see HBCU game be jaywalking at 3:00 in the morning on ESPN.
No bullshit. I was gonna say 1 a.m. You gonna catch it on that too.
No bullshit.
Fucked up.
Hey, he's Grambling the Alcorn. Yeah. Fuck they playing that?
Standard definition too. So
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's just like, but when people say the pros and cons, it's like all the pros that the PW5, the PWIs and the Power 5 had over us, they gained from us. That's the big stadium, the money to recruit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything we don't have, they earn it. So let's break. I'm gonna break this down to y'all right quick, because the big reason when it comes to me preaching HBCUs for the athletes is to close the economic gap, right?
Right.
There's a huge economic gap. So let me break this down to you. For example, in 2016-2017 school year, the University of Alabama athletic department, from August football to June softball, baseball, brought in $174.4 million. The athletic department, right? 50 million of that was football, almost 30 million that was baseball, right? Those two sports alone now, they got 22 sports. So that means the other 20 sports, right? The other 20 sports by themselves barely brought in 80 million. A little over, they brought in about 90 million. Now check this out. Alabama is a Power 5 when you do the numbers. The average power is 68 Power 5 schools out of the 5 conferences, 65 Power 5 schools. When you break down the numbers, the average black student body of each school is 2%, right? So you got a school like University of Texas at Austin, the Longhorns, got 67,000 people. 2% is about 1,400, right? Now, when you do the two main income bringers, basketball and football is 60% black, and basketball is like 58% black.
And that's because the bench warmers are all white.
All white, doing the dances when they make
no bullshit.
Yeah. Now check this out. The same school year, Prairie View A&M, which was our rival, out in PV, Texas. From August to June, their athletic department led the HBCUs. Guess how much they brought in?
How much?
2 million.
17.3 million. And A&T was behind them in third place with 14.4 million or something crazy. So when we talk about economics, and that's going to boil down to, I mean, these black schools are in these neighborhoods with some of them are run down. I mean, George Clooney was an H-Town dude. He was from CUNY Homes. CUNY Homes to TSU was like LaJoy Park to Howard. You feel me? So everybody knew somebody in the home. So everybody went over there for something.
So what's a con going to a PWI then? Because I mean, they're offering the bag.
I mean, so these are your morals. I mean, so when I say a con, like for instance, I've had the pleasure of going, being on Zoom calls with Derek Mason, head coach of Vanderbilt, Mike Loxley from Maryland, David Shaw of Stanford, what's the guy name? Herm Edmonds over at Arizona State, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But when you go deep, you got this kid, the number first team All SEC running back He's sitting up here, which he's an idiot for, but he's sitting up here not focused on football because he got to say, I'm not going to play unless y'all take the rebel flag back. You got the running back, the number 2 running back in the nation over at Oklahoma State. He's sitting up here, got to check his coach because he got on the Trump News Network on. You know, Herm Edwards just said, man, we just had to talk to some of our black kids the other day because they got pulled over on campus by a white cop. You know, so it's the shit that people don't see. When you go to, you gotta teach these kids how to act. You gotta teach, like, man, fuck that. Man, some of the best police I ever been across in my life is the campus police, who are actually state troopers.
And the HBCU,
Yeah, like, we chilling. We having a blast. Our football game might not be on TV. We might lose homecoming by 40. We out there enjoying. Hey, Slim, we out there enjoying having it up. And it's a blast. We ain't got to worry about, damn. We ain't in Mississippi in one of them towns. Like, let's hurry up, go to the liquor store before the sun go down. The sundown towns, you know, you go to an HBC, it's love, regardless. You ain't got to worry about these white coaches that's going to blackball you, like Roy Williams did, Ty Lawson, like Urban Meyer did, my boy Steve Savoy over at Utah. Like, these cats do so much for these white schools and these white people. And then at the end of the day, can't even call that shit home.
Yeah.
You feel me? Maryland had to change this stadium name because Bird was a racist. You know,
that's why they changed. I never knew that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to understand. And going back to Clemson, you got DeAndre Hopkins and his goofy ass boy, Deshaun Watson. DeAndre Hopkins grew up 5 miles from Clemson. 10 years later, he like, oh, I'm trying to sign a petition because Clemson racist and the school racist. That's why I don't rep Clemson. My nigga, you was there 4 years, though. So you wasn't that mad, right? So when you look at the school like Clemson, it's on a plantation. The nigga who started it, Thomas Clemson, his father-in-law is one of the most notorious Confederate general racist slavers of all time.
I mean, that's probably most PWIs, though, you know?
It ain't most. It's a lot. It's most in the South, though. But it ain't most.
Okay, so how about this? So let's say, all right, they not treating the black athlete right or whatever you're saying, right? But they're being used. Let's say that. But
of course they are.
But the black niggas also using them. Like that's not say use football. Let's not use football.
Okay.
Because football, you got to stay 4 years, and I get why you say that about a nigga.
Well, you don't have to stay 4 years. You can get in and get out. You can graduate 2.5 if you go all year round.
But you know what I mean. But like if a nigga that's trying to go to the league, you got 3 years.
I got you. Yeah.
But basketball, you can go to Duke. You can go to Duke for 6 months. Not even a one and done. That's a whole year you talking. So I'm out of there when the tournament over.
I'm out of there.
So here's my thing.
Everything's done.
So here's my thing. If you can go to Duke and Zion Williams himself can make Duke $7 million himself, just imagine if Zion say, you know, RJ, he a country ass nigga from South Carolina. If he say, hey, you know what, RJ? What if we went to South Carolina State? What if we did some special shit? ESPN not gonna not show up to South Carolina State.
That's right. That's what I was saying.
You only gonna be there 6 months.
Right.
And guess what, RJ? Well, let's dumb it down. Let's dumb it down a little. Let's dumb it down to us four. Right? We all, because nowadays these kids, they all over each other Instagram. They all over camps and AAU tournaments.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
That even go, and I'm gonna use an example how Nolan Smith and Mike Beasley lived in the same house and they was best friends. They the number 1 and 2 players in the nation. One a power forward, one a point guard. Why y'all ain't go to the same school? You feel me?
That was money.
That was money. We all know that was money. Well, no, it was money behind the scenes with
Beasley. No, we know it was underneath, but my thing is this. Just like all of us who went to Curl our freshman year, all of us that went to Curl our freshman year, we won a championship. We all left Lamar Ridge. We knew Jared and them from Woodridge. We knew a couple of them like, oh, y'all, we knew we was going to win the championship. You feel me? So it was just one of the things. If it's like, hey, man, hey, Cal, what you talking about doing? We like, man, shit, I might go to Duke, young. If Doug like, shit, I might go to North Carolina. And I say, shit, me and I'm sorry, I forgot my other man. Jamel might not have offers like that. But Hampton and Texas Southern go to the tournament every year. Boys and girls. So he might be like, fuck, Hampton, my biggest offer. And I'm like, shit. my biggest offer too. But all of us grew up together. And
So
we like, look, we like Slim. If we all play together for one season, Hampton go to the tournament every single year anyway. We gonna blow that MEAC out. We gonna make it to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and go to fuck. Why can't we do that? Because when we say 6 months, three of those months, we on the road. Tournaments, games, Hawaii tournaments.
But you're not on a plane.
Hey, look, don't let me be the best player because I'm gonna be like, look,
you're not on a plane.
I'm gonna holler at Coach K and see if we can get y'all over here. We gonna get y'all over here.
Cal gonna go to Cal the one.
I'm going to do.
Yeah, he's gonna do sit on the bench.
But now you made a good point because I was saying that too. I was like, man, if you were like to start, because these kids, man, now these high school kids, they get, if you look on Instagram, they got hundreds of thousands of followers. Got the blue check. So the camp, they already stars. So if you say like you said, if us four was 5 stars, we top 10. We four of us is top 10. We can go to any school. The camp is gonna follow us. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna change our draft position next year. You know what I'm saying? Because we can already go to the league. We just have to go to college because that's the rule.
Right. Norfolk State got a 4-star, 6'7" shooting guard on his way. He already committed.
But here's the thing.
He's probably one of them.
Here's the thing with basketball when it comes to this type of shit. Now, if the scenario that you gave, Cali, I get. If all 4 of us want to go do that shit, that's what's up.
Right.
But as a single individual, sometimes you can go to a school, you can go to a Duke, not even really be that good. But that jersey is going to get you a first round after 1 year. But if I go to North,
no, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh. How many
Cook didn't even get drafted.
Exactly.
But quiet.
So don't say after 1 year.
Quiet might get you. Hold on, quiet as kept. As a Duke fan, nigga, Quinn Cook wasn't never really that fucking good.
But did he get drafted? No.
But see,
he was
but you got to think though.
On the national championship team.
Exactly.
And that goes back for nobody.
But see, you got to think like this was a. Hold on, this was a. Oh, go ahead.
So that goes back to the master. So one of my good men, he was a freshman in 05 at TSU. He was at TSU on a full athletic scholarship. He from Woodbridge area. He from Taft area, South Dakota. He was down there, and we was talking. I'm like, "What you played?" His best friend started safety for 2 years. His little Chisholm. So they was best friend. TSU offered him, but he was like, "Man, if y'all can do something for my man, I'm in." So they ended up offering him. So I'm like, when I heard the story, I'm like, "Man, we'll see some shit." They was like, "Nah." He never started at the Master because he had a 5-star white kid named Pulowski at middle linebacker who went to Penn State, right? But the Master name got him a full scholarship.
The Texas Southern.
And quiet as kept. That's the same thing that happened to our man, Allen. You know, you probably know him. I don't know if you remember his name, Cali, but he be going to the tailgates with us. But he went to DeMatha. He was behind.
Playing corner.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think he ever started, but he still got a scholarship to the other TSU, Tennessee State. You know what I'm saying?
We was talking that they was out there about because his little nephew just took a pick back against us. That was at Gonzaga.
He just committed to Temple. He played for Gonzaga now.
They quit.
They
quit.
You know what I'm saying? So like you said, the name can carry.
Hell yeah.
But when it comes down to, because again, I was one of them people, like I said earlier, why would I go to the Magma and sit on the bench? Because that ain't guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's a lot of motherfuckers man, I had a cousin who was a 5th year senior at Villanova. He got 2 rings.
Right.
He's 6'10". Yeah, he's 6'10".
Right.
He's playing in Europe, though. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what?
That NBA shit don't guarantee you.
You know what? That gets lost in the sauce, too. Like Kyle, because Kyle had said it, too. He was like, you know, you can, he was talking, I think we were talking about football, but you were saying, you know, you can be a 5-star, go to Alabama. You don't even got to start. You can start your senior year, go to the league. a lot of people leave out the point that sometimes, you know, players aren't even, you might be a star in high school, but you're not fully developed yet.
You ain't that good.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're not getting no time, you're not developing. So that's why a lot of players, you know, they'll go to these top schools, they'll be there, you know, they might not be that good, or they might just stay there for a year, but they're not fucking growing in the league. That's why, like, a lot of our players, like, I brought up a lot of our players, you know, we got great high school athletes, great college players, but when they get to I'm talking about NBA. When they get to the NBA, they kind of fizzle out. Like this area, we only got Oladipo and Kevin Durant that's stars in the NBA, but we got so many players. But everybody outside of KD and Oladipo are role players. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, it's only like 20 stars in the league, though.
I mean, but we
to a team. It's to a team.
Exactly. And this sometimes
the all-star team is what?
20
right?
But my point is this area, you know, we just had the documentary. This area puts we have the highest percentage of players that go to the league. And if we have the highest percentage of players to go to the league, we should have the highest amount of stars, but that's not the case. You know, California does it, and specifically the LA area.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I was saying episode, it was a few episodes ago, I was like, that Cali players, now they're the reverse of us, reverse of players here. They might not be 5 stars coming out of high school. You know what I'm saying? They might go to college in 2-3 years. But when they get to the league, they take off. Next thing you know, they MVP candidates. And you don't even know what fucking college you went to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, but you just look at Russell Westbrook or James Harden.
Right.
Them cats did 3 and 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to education over entertainment is such a big umbrella, right?
Right.
Because it's one of those things where you so geek, these parents, and you know, and we talk about the money under the table. And I mentioned my parents' background. So if I was a top tier athlete, even a 3-4 star, you coming at my parents like, oh, we're going to give you this bag.
They wouldn't be impressed.
Yeah, that's not impressive. My parents was like, you going to college and you going to finish that shit. We don't give a fuck what you going to do. We don't give a fuck what sport. We don't give a fuck how good you going to think you're going to be going to the NFL. The goal is to finish school, though. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these kids, they come from not the best situations, and a lot of them don't come from worse situations. But when we dealing with this football and this basketball, it's like, I mean, I ain't like you say, I really ain't even registered for class second semester on basketball. I'm out of there. I'm gonna do 6 classes. We're gonna do pottery and nutrition.
Swimming.
Nigga saying pottery.
That's real shit.
That's facts. That's facts.
So, but when you say something about football, I mean, you're more likely, you have a greater chance in football to get drafted out of an HBCU than basketball.
Yeah. Because the cat went first round last year.
Right. No. It happens. But you have to be extraordinary. First off, you got to be
not necessarily because the guy he talking about that he was an offensive lineman from Alabama State. He went first round to the Texans. And he was a lineman, offensive lineman.
All right. And what is he? But 6'7",
6'6",
320.
But it's a lot of players. But my point is,
he came from Alabama State.
And he was a walk-on.
I'm with you.
Let me tell you, because I did after Kyle told me I did the research. He was a walk-on. He was a walk-on tight end. But he wasn't even a tight end coming out of high school. He was a quarterback coming out of high school. No. He's from I don't know where he's from. But like I'm saying, my point is, he was a mediocre player coming out of high school. Yeah. So if he can make it to the first round, being a mediocre high school player coming out of an HBCU, imagine a 5-star. They can do it. I
knew I should have been
6'7", 320. DRC went first round. You know what I'm saying? So,
hold on.
Might not have got no bitches, but
DRC ran a 4.2.
You know how many niggas run a 4.2?
Not a lot.
No, I mean, we're not 4.2. Yeah, not a lot. My bad. No, I mean, but
hold on. But when you see an HBCU nigga get picked in the first round, second round of the NFL draft, he has an amazing talent, ability.
He's a dog.
And that's not. You know why though?
50 chiseled. Or he runs a 4.2, he's 6'7" with long.
But see, we know that. But the reason I'm saying that is because normally, as of right now, players go to HBCUs because or players who have aspirations of NFL going to the NFL, they typically go to HBCUs when they're either not that good for the top D1 schools, or they got into like some type of trouble or school or education. Grades. That's why they end up at HBCUs. And now the ones that go into college mediocre, some people, like I said, you're not fully developed coming out of high school. So a lot of players get way better in college, so that might take them to the league. So some, you got one-offs and everything.
Yes, but you know what's about to help HBCUs out now?
What's that?
You got states now. California, of course, doesn't have any HBCUs, but California was the
I didn't know that.
It's no HBCUs past.
Now that you say that, it makes sense.
So you can't get mad at a kid from LA and be like, "Why the fuck you ain't go to HBCU?"
Right,
like,
ain't nothing out there. Ain't nowhere near that joint.
Yeah, so it's really from
us to down,
from like Philly or like Baltimore or Maryland Eastern Shore to FAM.
I think Philly got one. Liberty or Lincoln, my bad.
Oh yeah, Lincoln. Them schools up there.
My cousin played that joint.
So what I was going to say. So California, they did it. I think the end of 2019, where they was like, college players can make money off their name now.
Yeah.
Florida just did it. The state of Florida just did it 2 weeks ago, right?
NCAA just did all sponsorship for the whole D1.
Well, see. The state is doing, I think when you do individually states, that just means, like if you go to the campus, the school campus, and the nigga buy my jersey, I get bread up. That's how I'm thinking about it. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm thinking too.
At the game, if y'all my men, or if we all fuck with Doug, it's a basketball game, we all gonna buy the Doug jersey. Doug might get $50 later on at each month, the stipend.
Right.
So he gonna take us drinking with it.
So look, but check this out though. Now check this out. And I don't know, but this thing if Doug was like Doug got out. He could go to FAMU, he could go to Bethune, he could go to Florida International, he could go to Florida State, but he probably gonna have to wait. So just say if he go to FAMU and be the man for like 2 years, that money that's going in his pocket, he gonna be like, shit, I might stay another 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that could happen. But when these states start telling schools, doing their individual profit, I really don't gotta go to PWIs no more because at the end of the day, it's all about these youngsters making money.
Right.
If these NCAA games start coming back, because NCAA football about to come back, once all this shit gets stopped, so it's like I don't gotta go to Clemson and not play for 3 years. I can go to motherfucking A&T. Play, make name off a hat. Look here. A&T ain't lost a game in 3 years.
So basically, what he's saying, Kyle, he's saying it ain't gonna happen next year. But if players start funneling through, maybe in
it's gonna take a wave.
It's gonna take a wave. It's gonna take a bunch of niggas.
Because it takes so long for football players to have to. They gotta wait 3 years.
3 years.
So whatever they do, where it got, like I tell people all the time, it gotta kick off with basketball.
Basketball, right?
Because even the youngin, everybody like, it ain't gonna happen. Just the fact that the youngin Mikey say shit, I'm thinking his mom went to HBCU, like we talked about.
What you told him, Doug? You told him?
What?
Yeah.
Cuz not even gonna sniff the college job.
Oh yeah.
No, we talked about
we talked man. We talked for like an hour, man. We could have had an episode yesterday and shit.
Yeah. The point that he even threw that shit out there, you know what I'm saying? Or like LeBron. Like he talking all this shit, but it's like your son got 2 HBCU offers. Why you ain't shutting everybody else down?
Oh no,
LeBron's a phony. He'll sell out though. You know,
he's a phony nigga.
Yeah, he'll sell out. But just imagine, like you said, Mikey, LeBron Jr., and what's that big 7-foot Bama they was playing with? If all of them come out for a couple of years and say, "Fuck it," hey, y'all trying to go to Hampton? Especially if Hampton go to the championship.
Man, you know how many cameras will be down in fucking Hampton?
What?
I'll be at Hampton Road.
I'll be at Hampton. Look.
No, the cameras already following their high school teams. You know what I'm saying? So
my daughter be at Hampton.
Nigga said my daughter be at Hampton.
Hey. Like, we living rich.
Hey, man.
Hey, let me fix it.
Right.
You know what? But honestly, I think the argument will be stronger. I think you have more valid points for a regular person going to an HBCU over the sports because in my opinion, I think sometimes and I always go to something that Gary Williams, the former coach for the Terps, said.
Maryland.
Yeah, he said one time on the radio, I heard him say, he said, yo, when the NBA tells me that one of my players is a first-round talent or he's going to get drafted, there's no way, whether even if I know that these motherfuckers ain't ready to play in the NBA, nor will they be good NBA players. Wow. You can't tell the motherfucker that in that situation to stay because your average college degree might get you $60,000 a year on average. Mm-hmm. But you can go to the NBA, swindle these niggas into 3 years, $12 million.
Lonnie Baxter.
You can Lonnie Baxter. Chris Wilcox.
Chris Wilcox.
Yeah. Chris Wilcox.
But what you gonna do with no education? You gotta look at Joe Smith.
You can go back.
You can go back.
Joe Smith on the TV show Crime with A-Rod. He was the #1 pick.
What happened to him?
I was at Maryland camp the year he got drafted.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He went through 80 million. He bankrupt.
Oh, yeah, because they don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to manage that.
He needs to cry.
A-Rod got
he needs to cry.
Which is a great show. A-Rod got a show that dropped a couple years ago. Might be going on like his second or third season.
A-Rod, the baseball nigga?
Oh, yeah, A-Rod, he a money man. Slim. He a big time investor. So
I ain't never even know that.
He got a show where he helping former players. It looked like people with top names. Right. Who went back, and Joe Smith was his first dude. Joe Smith was down to like $78,000. You feel me? The shit sad though, but it's like yeah, all that money sounds good, but when, like you said, as you need college, you ain't mentally ready for that. Yeah. Shit. So I mean, when
players go bank, they're not holding.
But in the defense, or let me ask you, not even in defense, nigga went to Maryland. If he went to fucking Morgan State, what difference would it make? You think he'd have been any dumber, any smarter from going to Morgan?
I feel like this, and this is my honest to God truth. I feel like black people take care of their own better, right? So I feel like if he would have been any dumber, any smarter, but I guarantee you Joe Smith would have been a Morgan State basketball head coach 10 years ago.
Right.
You feel me?
I'll give you that.
Straight up.
Okay.
Like when you like you go back.
Like how come Merlin didn't look out for him, huh?
I see what you're saying.
Fuck that nigga. He a diamond dozen.
They didn't really look. They looked out for one.
Hold on, but let me say this too.
He a diamond dozen.
It's the same way around, nigga. If I'm going there to use you for 6 months or 12 months or whatever,
Joe Smith was there 3-4 years.
I was just about to say. I think he did.
I think he was at 2. I think he did.
He did 2.
Yeah, he went to the Sweet 16.
So,
and then he bounced. Right.
So I gave you 6 months of my life. I used you for your name. You used me. So that cancels out.
How many #1 picks have Maryland had since Joe Smith?
2.
He was the only one.
#1?
Okay. Well, Francis went second.
Francis went second.
Francis went second. Francis went second.
That was only 2.
The #1 pick.
Bias went 3rd. I mean, they firmly after that.
I think Wilcox was like 3rd too.
Wilcox was like 8th. He was like 8th.
Okay. To the Clippers. I know the Clippers. I thought they always have top picks. So
my point is, I thought he was.
I see what you're saying. He was the
Clippers.
He got drafted by the Supersonics. Y'all look at that.
I'm gonna look
Wilcox?
it up.
Yeah. Wilcox.
Look it up. So I don't know, cuz.
Yeah, you look it up. So, but my point is, he's still the #1 pick. That's just like I will say this about Vince Young and the University of Texas. He pretty much the best athlete they ever had come through that bitch, football. He won in the national championship. People talking about all that shit about Vince Young. Vince Young had his own radio show. He's been on University of Texas always got something for Vince Young. Yeah,
they gonna take care.
You bankrupt. All right, come on, we're gonna put you on the morning sports show.
He brought them a chip though. The Clippers. He brought them a chip.
But that's what I'm saying. But my point is, Joe Smith never bought them a chip. But if you go off draft status, he's the best basketball player to come through their program.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Draft status.
When you go
first pick.
It's not much difference between first and second. So I still give the nod.
But Joe Smith was in the same class with Kevin Garnett. That was the year before Kobe.
Yeah.
That was the year before Kobe.
Joe Smith was good. Joe
Smith had a long career. He ended up playing with Garnett in Minnesota.
He was player of the year.
He was player of the year.
He was balling.
He was player of the year.
He had a long career. He just had fucked up money management skills. He was to be #1, his career didn't fucking add up to
he played 15 years.
Hey, but look, a lot of these niggas now I want to hear the next wave of niggas. So now if Joe Smith fucked up 80 million, woo, the next wave got to fuck up 200.
But you know the big Bama, what's his name? Who work at Starbucks? Ben Baker.
Ben Baker.
Yeah, he fucked up about 130.
He was an alcoholic. Yeah, he was an alcoholic.
He worked at Starbucks?
Starbucks.
That was like 10 years ago. They said that Bama.
I'm going to do coke and live under a bridge before I put on the motherfucking
Hey, that's funny.
But man, but when it's
Jordan still get a contract, right? I mean,
the contract's in, champ.
I thought those lifetime contracts, man.
That you ain't no champion.
Yeah,
but when it's all said and done, man, like I said, it's definitely the truth be told, it is pros and cons when it comes to both. But in my opinion, it boils down to your upbringing.
Yeah,
you know, when it comes to how your family values things, because there's no way my family, a coach from Vanderbilt can come to my household. My parents say, "Well, who is Vanderbilt? Oh, it's Cornelius Vanderbilt. Oh, who was that?" And you say, "Well, he was a railroad guy. He was a steam guy. Okay, what was his family like? Oh, well, he married two of his cousins, and he had 13 kids." My parents would have been like, "What? So where the school at again?" Nashville. They would have been like, "So how old is school? 1855." They would have like, but it was slaves going. That's the type of questions my parents. And then they were like, "Well, yeah, the campus is on the Burlington plantation." My parents would have been like, "Man, get the fuck out of my house." For real though, my parents would have been like, "Man, we ain't going no Mike sending those. All them buildings named after slavers. Like all this. That's why all this protest. We got to change the name." So that's when I talk about like, when does financial gain outweigh who you are, your brand? Because then when you get older, you're going to be looking stupid like Deshaun Watson and them, because what they done did is they done fucked up all the money. And what I mean by that is when you got real people like myself and hopefully y'all, when y'all speak up, when they speak up, and it's like, nigga, you lived around it. You lived around it.
No, like you of all people should have known that
shit too.
Yeah.
And then you went there 4 years. Right. And then you got the white people looking at you like, wait a minute, you was just fucking with us. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the school looking at you like he ain't gonna have no job. He can't go to Clemson and do nothing.
Yeah.
His white friends at Clemson gonna be like, nah, because he was talking about my grandfather. And
he was an NFL wide receiver telling him run routes.
Yeah. And then the real people gonna be like, nah, but you was welling. Because I remember when you said, fuck all that racist shit, I'm going to Clemson, then going to sleep.
Clemson gonna be different.
Yeah. Clemson going, man, hey, I'm gonna be at the house all the time. I ain't live on campus.
You know what? I got a homeboy, right? So he ain't play no sports or nothing. Yeah, I think he works in like the health industry or some shit like that, some type of sales shit. But regardless of that, he grew up southeast to Glen Arden. If he's listening, he's gonna know I'm talking about him. But I think his father married a woman that had a house in Bowie. So I met him out there, right? And nigga to the core of his soul. He a nigga.
Yeah.
He went to school. Like I lost contact with him, and then got back up with him, and found out I forgot the name of the school that quick because I'm drunk off the pod.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
It was literally wrap it up. It was literally real quick. It was literally he said he texted me about it. I told him what we was on the show on, and he said he went to a school where when he went on the visit, he was the only nigga there.
Yeah,
it's like, you know what? He said, Slim, I know niggas. I've been around niggas all my motherfucking life, Slim.
Yeah.
He said, I'm gonna go here. And one time he hit me, I got up with him, and it was, hey, come down to the school. When I looked at the school up and I seen it was all white niggas, I was like, dog, I ain't coming down.
Right.
My other man went, and he was like, yo, it was all white niggas. We had a ball. And this nigga now works in the health field, and he said, Slim, he wouldn't be who he was, and he's still the nigga that he was.
If he didn't go to
that white school and know how to play with the white people too, pause. He now has, he said, yo, if I'd have went to a HBCU, Slim, he said, nigga, I literally would have learned how to swag surf and been up out of there.
but the thing is, let me say something.
Go ahead.
Because he probably learned how to swag surf at the white school too. But on top of that, but on top of that, because what we got to do, and this is that the people, we got to stop cracking simple-minded jokes like that, because that creates a different mindset, a certain mindset in its own. And again, it goes back to your elders because my parents, my parents were 66. You know, they were in D.C. They were 14, 15 doing the riots. You know, my older aunt, she went to Western or which is Duke Ellington now. She was the first class in 67 over there. And by the beginning of the 68 school year, the school went from all white to all black because all the white people moved their fucking kids out to go to the suburbs, right? Mm-hmm. So I grew up with a certain mindset because of my parents.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? My father and them was like, look, fuck a cracker. You know, but at the same time, if we're going to be in America, that's just what it is.
No, that's what it is.
At the same time, if we're going to be in America, we're going to be in this city, or we're going to be in this country, we got to learn how to I'm going to raise you how to coexist, right? Yeah. But you ain't going to let a motherfucker play with you, especially no. So I ain't have to learn, but that's
not real shit.
That's real.
So I'm talking some real shit right now. So it don't take me to go to Georgetown University to learn how to deal with a motherfucker. You know, it is what it is. Whether they cool white folks, whether they not, whether they cool Hispanics, whether they not. I mean, it didn't take me to go to a certain school or learn and live in a certain neighborhood because guess what? My Catholic school had the teachers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Had a couple of them. Like the woman said, when he get out of Oregon, that's the first time he's gonna learn how to interact with an old white woman. I'm pretty sure he had teachers, principals, people at the Walmart. So when you go back and say, "Oh, I gotta go to Duke," I believe I gotta go to Duke because I want to be in this particular field with a bunch of white people. Again, that's bullshit. A lot of that comes back to your upbringing. Because I mean, I come from a political family, so we deal with politics in general, the politics of life, the street politics. So I'm grateful that, you know what I'm saying, how I know how I'm raised from a mental standpoint when it comes to different races. A lot of people weren't fortunate enough for that. But the fact that I know that it can be done, like my daughter already hit. She got hit with some racism. She only in the first grade. You know what I'm saying? But my daughter was like, yeah. She punched, and it is kind of my fault because don't let nobody play with you. She punched the girl in her face. But it was a Mexican girl who was supposed to be her best friend when it was time for the birthday. My daughter like, well, why you ain't invite me to your party? She like, oh, because you black. That's how she kicked it off. So
God damn.
So, but the little girl only 6. She don't know no better.
That's from the house.
It was her mom was like, oh, you can't invite your black friend.
Nah, she black.
Because black people are ghetto. They did. Man, my daughter's so suburban, but because how I raised her, we ain't rocking like that. But at the same time, I talked to her grandmother a couple weeks ago, who in Texas, not my mom. She like, man, you got your little Angela Davis on your hands. And I'm like, that's powerful for a kid that just turned 7. But it's just, I'm talking to her about how does the Black Lives Matter movement make you feel? I feel this about it. Or how did that little girl make you feel? It made me feel sad, because I know I'm not like that. And I got to let you know there's going to be people in different races in particular that's going to feel a certain way just because. So you got to know how to roll. She like, all right, daddy. And I break stuff down. So again, when my little girl don't have to grow up and go to Rice to understand how to deal with Rice type people in the real world. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I get your boy. Don't get me wrong. I get him, but
I get what you're saying.
That boils down because I watched, and I'm gonna end with this, that show All American with the football show.
I need to watch
it was that. It was one episode where the son, Tay Diggs, got a white wife before. You know what I'm saying? His son, a big 6'5", Dwayne Johnson looking, So he get pulled over in his Corvette or something with the black boy, with the dark-skinned kid. They pull him over in Beverly Hills. He's going on the cops. You know what I'm saying? All his white boy shit. The black dude, the dark-skinned dude, his teammate like, yo, you gotta chill. Right. So he like, so they keep looking at they ain't even tripping on him, but it's because he with this dark-skinned kid, they press him out. The mom a D8. The mom suing the whole police station. But the thing was, the son figured it out because it's in the show, he from like Compton, the Tay Diggs. So the son Crenshaw. Yeah, he said, he was like, if I was, and the dark kid is a transfer from Crenshaw.
Crenshaw, right.
He said, if I looked like him, would have prepared me for this shit? And his father had to bite the bullet like, yeah. But his father moved this motherfucker to Beverly Hills to the suburb thinking,
he won't got to deal with
we good.
Setting them up. Yeah, you setting them up for real.
I got this biracial kid, he good.
Right. You like, oh, we done moved to Bowie. We out by Six Flags.
SB.
Yeah. My son gonna go to George Mason. And we good. My son gonna get his ass pulled over one day though. So what he gonna do? You know? So that was my spiel on that though, man. But it was a great, man.
Shit, man, this was a good ass conversation, man. I hate to
appreciate you, bro.
Man. I want to get into like the whole defund the police and everything.
Right, man. Should we like a minute, an hour and 15, hour 20? But nah, this is definitely a conversation that needed to be had, you know, especially in
hold on.
I got a big. I apologize for cutting you off, man. But if y'all need a guest or want to just talk about that on some other shit, on outside of this shit, because I got a lot going on with reform, and it ain't that goofy defund the police stuff, but it's a lot of reform because I'm an activist, so it's a lot of stuff I'm doing in the community with my folks and the police, man. So if you just want to have a conversation about that shit,
no doubt,
or do it on another show. I really want to have.
Matter of fact, go ahead and plug your joint too, man.
I appreciate it, man. Shout out NHF, man. Shout out for y'all bringing me on. I appreciate it, man, you guys. And I do a few shows, but I'll just go ahead and plug my sports show. It's on IG Live.
Shit, plug them all. We got
IG Live, man. You can check me out myself, my boy Coach O, Osiris Walcott. You follow us at Cali Passport and Already 1-2. And the show is called Welcome to JUCO. So it's a sports show, but it's geared to more towards the politics of sports, right? So we're not there talking about, in last night's news, he dropped 50. Nah, we talking about the real politics behind sports.
We finna come on this nigga show.
So we go have that, man.
But this definitely was needed, man. Because like I said, at our age, we got friends and family whose kids are starting to get into high school and college. They definitely need to hear both sides and not just think, the PWI is the only route. You know what I'm saying? Just hear the pros and cons of both.
Right.
But
and tell your man whose son over at Paul 6, man, we need him at Hampton.
Man. Hey, man, that's going to take some convincing, man. It's going to take some convincing. But nah, man, we definitely appreciate you for coming on.
Shit on that brosure they sent me at Cop.
Hey, man, with all the bitches on that joint.
Leave that double bag at the door.
Right, this on that
right, man. But definitely, man. Appreciate you, man. So, like I said, what's this? Episode 14, man.
Hey, but you tell them we stopping at 15.
Oh yeah, we gonna let them know after next episode. Episode.
My bad.
So episode 14 is a wrap, man. Cali Passport, man. Jamel, Kyle, me, we out this bitch.
Yes, sir.
Man.